The South Florida Times is speaking with Pat Mellerson, one of the founding members of the Homestead Florida City Human Relations Board, which has just been dissolved. Ms. Mellerson, tell us how and when did this board first get started?
The board was started according to our ordinance in 2002. It was started as a result of perceived perception in the community by African Americans who had been laid off from the city of Homestead. There was a public meeting, a lot of outcry. At that meeting, I saw the tensions, felt the tensions, and I asked Mayor Roscoe Warren if he would reinstitute the Human Relations Board, which he had originally set up some time before.
And this was in 2002?
In 2002.
And how did Florida City get involved in this board?
Florida City and Homestead are so close. They always work very closely together. People who live in Homestead, live in Florida City, have families in both communities. If something affects Florida City, it also affects Homestead. So we thought, why have a board just for Homestead? Have a board representing both Homestead and Florida City. So in one of our initial meetings, we contacted Mayor Wallace of Florida City. He came in, felt very strongly that Florida City should participate. So as a result of that, we have an ordinance combining Homestead and Florida City together to form the Human Relations Board.
And what are some of the issues that you all have addressed on this board since 2002?
We have addressed so many issues since 2002. Homestead Senior High has had serious problems, and for about 5 years we dealt with Homestead on campus, in the community, public hearings with the school board, and some of those issues have been educational, some of those have been racial tensions, personnel problems, but we dealt with those perhaps for 5 years, and we see good results from those meetings. We have dealt with police brutality or perceived police brutality in the community. We have had public hearings on those issues. We've dealt with the issue of Hispanics workers who seem to congregate on Mallory Drive. And of course, no problems from them, but they were waiting for work, as we see many people in many communities congregate on corners. Some of the businesses were concerned, so we had public meetings with the community, designated a place for them to meet. We met with the police department in reference to that, and we came to an agreement as to where they could meet. And that seems to have been resolved. We've heard just recently we need to address it again, but over the years that has been an issue we dealt with. We dealt with immigration issues. We asked both Homestead and Florida City to pass a resolution to deal with, to ask the federal government to deal with immigration issues, because Homestead and Florida City are both large immigrant communities. The immigrant communities came to us, asked for our support. We did it, and both cities agreed to sign a resolution. There were individual resolutions signed by both cities saying that they support immigration reform.
All right, now have you had any complaints about the board?
None at all.
Okay. Now, recently, this board took up the issue of the Confederate Flag and Confederate States organizations being allowed to participate in the recent Veterans Day Parade and other city-sanctioned functions. Tell us about that.
After the November 11th Veterans Day Parade, I had at least 4 or 5 complaints from citizens, and those are citizens of all ethnic backgrounds. Other board members had complaints as well. Our thought was we as individuals could not solve this problem, nor did we have the answers to what was perceived as a problem, so we asked the board to take it up. The board unanimously agreed to address the issue.
Okay, and you had complaints. What type of complaints and about what?
Seeing the Confederate display of the Confederate flags in the Veterans Day parade, they were very upset by seeing the flags in the parade. And I believe the general consensus, both of the board and those persons who complained, were that if an individual has the flag in his home, on his car, on his person, in his personal property, no problem. But because it was in a public setting, public street, in fact, it's a federal highway, and we did not know at that point who organized the parade, but we thought we would provide a public forum so that all parties could come together and discuss the issue.
Okay. Now, the city of Homestead has dissolved this board.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm very perplexed as to why this board would be dissolved at this time, because this has been one of the most progressive, most diverse, most active boards of all the boards in the city. We've been recognized by many because of our work and because of how we have been able to solve difficult situations in the community. So I'm really perplexed as to why. Now, I was present at the meeting when Mayor Bell announced that she would sunset the board. What made me more perplexed is that two other boards were discussed at the same time. And those two boards were not sunset at that particular time. Now, perhaps there's a reason for that, but we were the only board, and I believe we're not the only board, or those two boards are not the only boards active in the city. Now, I think that my thoughts are, if they were to sunset any board because they are reorganizing all the boards, then I think all boards should have been sunset and then reorganized.
Some members of the Human Relations Board think that this is retaliation as a result of them taking up the issue and confronting the Confederate flag. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a general consensus, and when we cannot come up with any other answers, we've not been given any other answers, then it would lead us to believe that this is true.
And is that what you believe?
I do believe that.
That because you addressed the issues related to the Confederate flag, the board has been dissolved?
I believe so.
And what do you all plan to do? What are your plans?
I'm an eternal optimist. I believe we still have many issues in the community that need to be resolved. I believe in dialogue. I believe in open dialogue between all parties. And so I am a strong advocate of creating another board if the city so chooses to dissolve this one, so that we can address the same issues. Those issues have not gone away, be it the Confederate flag, be it problems with the police department, police shootings, or any other issues that we have dealt with. They're not going away, and so I believe we need a vehicle so that these issues can be properly addressed.
Mayor Linda Bell, who is the mayor of Homestead, has said that the board has been dissolved and they intend to create their own community board only for Homestead residents. Mm-hmm. Have you all begun the process of creating your own board or organization?
We have been talking about it. We have spoken to Mayor Wallace to see what his position was, because it was a dual board. We have another meeting scheduled. At this time, I am not sure where we stand, except to say that we are in dialogue in reference to this.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mellerson. For the South Florida Times, I'm Elgin Jones in Homestead, Florida.